In a few days, I'll be leaving to western Colorado to go look for elk during the rut and get some pictures of them. I did not draw a tag this year, so I'll be hunting elk with a camera. And I'm taking the Mystery Ranch Pintler pack, and I want to do a quick, just a pack dump of the things that I'm going to be taking with me for this particular trip. So starting off, the Mystery Ranch Pintler pack is a pack that's designed to carry weight. So if you're a hunter and you harvest an elk, then you oftentimes have to pack out on your back the quarters or the rest of the meat of the animal unless you're on a horse. So the Mystery Ranch pack opens up and allows you to be able to expand the pack to put those quarters in, which can be somewhere between 50 to 70 pounds depending on how big the elk is. So it's a great pack to carry heavier, bulkier items like some of these lenses that I'm going to be taking with me. So as you can see on the outside of the pack, I have Crocs. Well, why do I have Crocs? Well, as you know, if you've spent much time in the mountains, your feet, after you walk for a while, they get tired. Sometimes your socks are, well, your socks always get damp with sweat. So when you get to your glassing location, I like to take my boots off and my socks and put on Crocs and let my feet just kind of breathe, dry out, and relax. So moving on into the pack, I have my my accessories bag. So inside this bag, I have an Anchor, what do you call these things? Power bank, there we go. I have extra SD cards, batteries, and charging cables. Sometimes you need those for your camera. Let's set that aside. The lens, and this is really the main reason why I'm carrying a pack like this, is because this Sony 200 to 600 millimeter lens by itself, and in addition to this accessory foot on it, is pushing 6 pounds. And so that's a heavy lens. You don't always need a lens this big, but on this particular trip, it's in an area where there was a burn. So, you know, you can see for hundreds and hundreds of yards. You can actually see for a couple of thousand yards in some areas, and that's way too far for this lens. So you do have to get closer. But there's also a wolf den there. And so if we can set up and, you know, happen to maybe get some of those wolves, then we're going to need to zoom in on them. But the primary objective is elk. So after that, we've got a rain cover for the camera and for the lens. This accessory pouch, which has some basic survival items in them, but most of the survival items I have are in my pockets. So we have a first aid kit in here, a Havalon knife, which really shouldn't be in there. That's left over from hunting season. Extra headlamp in here. There's a signaling lens, and you know, looking to see if you get something in your eye, you can see your own reflection. There's some iodine for water disinfection, bandana, a sponge to clean the pots with for after you make coffee or have a snack. So this is the bag for that. Then in here we have a Jetboil Minimo. I believe this is the one. Now this is a heavier stove and fuel kit than I really like to carry, but the reason I opt for the heavier weight is the convenience of it. It's so easy to use, so easy to get started, and it also it's insulated, and it helps to keep your beverage warm a little bit longer once you pour it into the cup. So moving on. Now, as you know, you start early in the morning before light, and it's cold. Even in late September, where I'm going, it's going to be below freezing. So you're going to start off producing plenty of metabolic heat, but once you get to your glassing location where you're going to be listening for bugles and glassing, then sometimes you need to put an additional layer on. And that's where I carry for this particular trip. This is the Hill People Gear Mountain Serape. And it's basically a poncho, and I'll show a picture and a short video of what that looks like in a minute. But the reason I carry this as opposed to just like a puffy jacket is my daughter's going to be with me this time. And she's just about to turn 13, and she's slight of build. So I can actually get close to her, put this poncho over both of us and share some heat until the sun begins to come over the ridges and start to warm things up. So that's the Hill People Gear Mountain Serape. I always have a change of socks. These are Smart Wool or either Darn Tough, whichever one, both work. So always have a change of socks. And then I have a little bit of rain gear, and this is the First Lite. The rain gear is in the bottom of the pack, and I rarely use it. I don't remember what this First Lite rain jacket is. Let me see if it's written on the hood on the inside. It is not. Kuyu writes the names of their garments on the inside, but this is not. This is a great, lightweight, packable rain jacket. It's not one that you want to spend days on end in the rain with, because it will eventually leak through like pretty much all of these laminated fabrics do. But this one will get you from your location back to the truck or back to the cabin in the event that an unexpected deluge happens. So I have also Gore-Tex pants. I think these are Cabela's or Bass Pro fishing pants, and they're pretty light, they're packable. They go with the top, with the First Lite top. I have a pack cover in case it rains as well. Now, the Pintler pack on the inside, if you notice, it's a double zip front, which if you clicked on this video because it says Mystery Ranch pack, then you already know this is how the pack is. But on the inside of the pack, it has some extra pockets, and right here, this is where I keep some extra gloves or mittens. Don't really need them this time of year, but they stay in the pack. And on this side is where I keep a beanie, extra beanie. Again, it's not something that you really need this time of year, but these are items that always stay in the pack. So let's look at the sides. Now, one of the problems that I have with the pack and the things that I don't like about the pack is the system for carrying water bottles. This could be way better, but it is what it is, and it does work. And so this is where your water bottles will go. Over here, we have another pack. This is where another water bottle will go. There's something in there. What's that? Oh, 2 cartridges. Looks like a 10 millimeter and a 30-06. Left over from, I guess, last season. All right, so let's take a look at these upper pockets here. And what do I have in here? So this is a thermometer, just more for curiosity's sake than anything. In the top pocket, I have a headlamp, necessary for walking in the dark when you're going in the morning. This is some Vaseline for lip balm or fire starting. There is a spork. There is a thing of hand sanitizer, and a small Sunto compass, which doesn't serve a big purpose. It's just in there more as a novelty and a backup to a backup to a backup, because I have a Garmin InReach Mini, which is my signaling device because there's no cell service where I go. My Onyx would be second on my phone, and then if both of those are down, I can generally see, even though it's maybe 4 or 5 miles away, I can see the camp where I'm going to be if I get up high enough, and I can just walk toward those cliffs that mark my direction. So it's more of a novelty than anything, this particular compass. And then in the top pack, or the top pocket, I have wet wipes for hands and cleanup. And then I have this Katadyn Be-Free water filter, which is more of a backup in case I run out of water that I've taken with me in the bottles, which sometimes happens, but it's really rare. And so the only thing that's not in here are my consumables. So I don't have food and I don't have water in there because that's going to be put in at the last. This is not a lightweight pack. It weighs about 5 pounds just by itself. But when you're carrying, items that are as heavy as this and you're actually putting them in the pack, then it does help because the pack does distribute weight nicely. The hip belts, or the hip belt, this one is nicely broken in. I've used this pack now for 4 years, and lots of you know, lots of use time with it. And the more you use it, the more this hip belt breaks in, gets softer, more supple, and feels better on your body, and the same with the straps. Now, you can also cinch this up like this once the pack is loaded, and it just helps to distribute the weight a little more evenly. And I think this pack is actually designed for to carry a bow, and you can do that, of course, if that's what you're going with. But in this instance, I'm going with a camera. So that's kind of what I take on a day trip, and this is not an overnighter. If I was planning to stay overnight, then I would, in addition to what you saw and the consumables that I would have, I would take this Grace Duo Tarp by Mountain Laurel Designs, and I would also take this super light tarp from MLD. And these are really light. I mean, together these things are about 3 pounds, but you can really scrunch these down pretty small, and that doesn't change a whole lot with your pack. If I was just going to be looking for elk in the timber, then I probably wouldn't use this big lens. I would leave this at home, and I would take the Sony 70 to 350, because in the timber, this is plenty of reach and zoom for if you're calling in a bull using a cow call or maybe a bugle tube or something like that, then this is really what you need. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have neglected to mention that I take. I think that's about it. And so over the years, what I take has gotten less and less and less and less, because you simply don't need a whole lot of things. You need to stay hydrated. You need calories to keep your body moving, some basic survival gear. You need something to keep the water off of you in case you get caught in some rain, and you need to be able to stay warm. And aside from that, you know, some basic first aid items. Moleskin is really important, and the moleskin is in the first aid bag. And so I hope this helped you out a little bit. I do recommend the Mystery Ranch Pintler pack. And if you have any questions or any suggestions and would like to share what you carry in your pack when you're going in the backcountry to photograph or to hunt or whatever, just put it in the comments and let us know. And of course, if you are hunting, then it's going to be, you're going to have things in here that you're not going to have if you're doing photography. If you're doing photography, you're going to take those things out. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video.